Hi and very good evening, guys. This is Tony Dovale, founder of Life Masters and author of Swift Success. And this is another time with Tony, where I spend some time just chatting and shooting the breeze while I cook some dinner and just talking about stuff that I think is relevant and prevalent in our life today. So the time is 6:15 or 17:52 if you look at the right watch. How's your day been? How has your day really been? I have some friends that are busy as heck in the corporate space, and I have some friends who are zero busy as heck in the small self-employed space. So we're busy cooking some rice. I have, hiding in the corner here, some lovely fresh Dorado that I was able to go and catch myself in Durban with a friend of mine, Potty, who's got a boat. So we take a break for a few days and go down to the coast. This has to be the most expensive Dorado in town, because in the shops you can buy it for about 200 Rand a kilo. But it's expensive when you go out in your own boat, and it costs you 1,500 bucks a day for fuel. So 3 days is like 4.5 grand for fuel. But it's a hobby and it's a sport and it's a pastime, and it keeps me distracted from all of the things that I should be doing in the world right now. So I have my rice going, I have my fish ready with my pan. I need to just put this. We have butternut. We have some butternut and cheese and whole little bits and pieces that will go with it. I'm going to do my Dorado just in some lovely butter. But whilst we're waiting for all of this stuff to happen, maybe grab yourself a drink. I decided to break out and go and get a Savannah Gin. I don't know if you know the Savannah Gin, if you can see there, with a monstrous amount of ice. Make sure that it lasts long enough. So in the beginning I asked you how you're really doing, because I really meant it. Times are tough for many people, not only because the business is tough, but just the conditions and the uncertainty and the situation that we have in our country, and in fact the world is tough. And my whole research and development that I've done right now brings me back to my Navy days when we used to surf. Yes, I used to surf. You won't believe this body could surf. We used to go out in Muizenberg with my friend Daryl Sewell, or around the other side of Kommetjie and Llandudno Bay, but it was it was way too cold in Llandudno when we used to surf. But we used to surf. And I had a longboard. I had one of these giant long, I don't know how this is 7, about 9, 10 foot, 11 foot boards. And we used to paddle out through the waves, trying to get through the waves, and then wait for the right wave and paddle like crazy to make sure you could catch the wave. And sometimes you were in front of it enough that it would lift you up and you could go. And other times you were paddling like crazy and the wave just went past you. But there were times when we did catch the waves. Every surfer, you need to understand this, every surfer crashes. There's not one surfer in this universe that doesn't come off his board sometime in the midst of a huge, gigantic wave. The problem that you have when you come off these waves is you're being tumbled. You're holding your breath, you're maybe being knocked by your board, so you're defending your body as best you can. But you don't know which way is up and which way is down. You're being tumbled and pummeled. And eventually, hopefully, you look up and find that where the light is, and you push for the light. And it got me thinking, when you see people on a surfboard, and the people that have got skill and competence and ability, that are able to really use the wave, because we have these mega waves of change coming. But can you use these mega waves of change? And that's what surfing is about for me. It's about being able to adapt what's coming at you It's the agility to do it quickly enough. Because everybody adapts. Over a long enough time, everybody adapts. But do you adapt quickly enough? And then do you adapt as a victim, or do you adapt as a creator that says, hey, I'm on the wave, I have potential? Because as much as we have change and challenge and uncertainty and anxiety, we have huge opportunity. There are people making millions. Yes, there are guys in the government doing their thing, which we have to work on. But there are individuals who have pivoted. And this has been an incredible year for them. They've made millions. And that's what I believe is what we are missing in the world right now, is this adaptability with agility or swiftness. That when a wave comes, you're not avoiding the wave of change, but you are getting ready to use this wave, because in this wave there is potential. Yes, you have to have the right surfboard. In my days there were huge long things and you had to work like crazy to get them going. Today's the guys' boards are shorter than their bodies, and they're lighter than me, obviously. And so when you look at a surfer that's doing amazing things on the waves with that absolute balance, they come down the wave, and normally in the beginning there's quite a drop. If you watch these huge 60-foot or 70, 80-foot waves they have in Portugal, those guys, when the waves are that big, don't do a lot of creative stuff. They're just looking to hold their balance and come thundering down that wave. But if you look at the normal waves that are out in the world, where everybody surfs on the weekends or during the week, where we used to in the Navy take a break, yes, the wave comes along, and once you're up on the board and you've got that balance, now the creativity and the balance starts. And you have to lean in to the movement, you have to make the decision to lean into what's the potential that's there. Yes, you can fall off. Yes, you can crash. Fortunately for most people, it's not a life-threatening situation, but for most of us, we've fallen off 100 times. At the end of a surfer's ride, there's always an off the board into the water and then going back to get ready for the next possibility. And that's what my AdaptAgility concept and framework is about, is you have to have the ability to adapt to what's coming. You have to have the agility to do it quickly enough, because the wave will come past you and then you're like still looking around and it's gone. You have to have the capacity and the competence to know how to ride. It takes a while to learn to ride in those waves. And so it's competence and confidence. But then there's also the creativity when you watch these guys as they come down the face of the wave. They cut back and then they push down and they're running through the tunnels, because that was the big thing, to go through the tunnel. It's an incredible experience being on a wave, riding this mega wave. And for some people, this is threatening. It's dangerous. It's going to smash them down. I was watching a video the other day of people standing on the beach, not watching the waves behind them, get absolutely smashed. When we launch up, or either my jet ski or boats going out to the ocean, there's danger. There's boats, huge boats that flip. There's very big danger in the waves. But if you have the right skill set and the right mindset and the balance of courage and confidence and competence, you can do amazing things inside those waves. And that's what I think we have in the world today, is we need this courage to step up and try new things. We need the skills, the new skills. We've gone digital. What would have taken 5 years, we've done in 5 months. And so this digital challenge has become upon us way faster. And so we have to learn and shift and grow and reinvent the wheel for ourselves. But one of the things that people don't often talk about, when you see the guys, I was watching these huge 80-foot waves, when the guys come off the waves, and they're under 1 million tons of water, and they're meters underneath. They actually have, I saw the guy had an air canister. They'd inflated a vest that pulled him to the top, because unless you're special, 30, 40, 50 seconds the longest you're going to hold your breath. But what do you do if you're in this turmoil of these huge giant waves and you're still not near the top, but you need to breathe? And I know what it's like. I've forced myself to hold my breath a few times, but not beyond probably 40 seconds or so. But you have to have that resilience that you can hold tight under pressure, stress and duress. The world, nobody gets out of this game alive. Know this. No one gets out of it. And so resilience is a foundation. And I was blessed to work with Professor Stoltz, who was the guy that started resilience, or AQ, adversity intelligence. So IQ gets you on the field. You need basic mental capacity to get you on the field. EQ, or emotional intelligence, keeps you on the field because that's how you interact with people and grow. And many people are hired for their IQ, but they're fired for their lack of EQ. But what no one really talks about is the AQ, that resilience, that capacity, that adaptagility factor to adjust as things are happening around you. Because you can have a good IQ, good brain capacity, and good EQ. But if you take a punch and you stay down, what use are you? And know this right now, the times of the future are getting tougher. If you think the future is getting easier, I'm not too sure which field you're playing on, but let me know. But I see more competition, more challenges, more opportunities for those people that are ready to wake up, shake up, and do something more. Now, I'm a Boy Scout, so I've learned to cook. And being a solo man, yes, you can. You can throw on toast and cheese or something simple. But there are times when you want to do something more than just the basics. If you don't learn to do the basics and learn to do the better things, who needs you in their team? And so teamwork is such an important component in this remote working context. We're doing a 3-hour workshop on the 25th of February. If you want to join, it's like $300 for 3 hours. But I'm sharing with you the research and the wisdom we've learned about remote working, leading and managing teams, bringing out the best in your people in a remote or hybrid context, changing from being a manager to becoming a coach, because the shift in the world is because of the context and the conditions. We have to approach business in a very different thing. Just think of a woman that used to work in an office where her children went to school and her hubby went to work. In many of those situations right now, the kids are at home, the hubby's at home, and mom's at home. Who does the cooking? Mom. Who has to look after the kids? Mom. Who has to look after dad? Mom. Who's got time for mom? Nobody. Plus she's got to do the work. And so there's huge stress on people in environments and contexts that maybe as a man you don't even understand. You just, as a single individual, I work from home. I have none of those pressures. I was in Durban 2 weeks ago, and the lady in front of me had a trolley. I'm talking about a shopping trolley that was full. As full as a human could pack the trolley. And I thought to myself, sure, that's a big trolley. I wonder what it's going to cost her. And I thought maybe 3,500 rand for the shopping. And it was 5,335 rand. And I asked her, is this your monthly shopping? And she said, no. She said, this is, my kids are all at home, my husband is at home, there's other members of the family that are at home, we're eating away a lot more. She says, I have to use 2 credit cards to pay for this. And so if you're one of those lucky ones that have food, clothing, shelter, everything about have, just take a moment to be kind and considerate and become more compassionate for those people who don't have to the level that we have. You know, I'm blessed. I can stand here and have my savannah and cook my food and have fresh Dorado. There are many people that can't. My lady that looks after my house, my cleaning lady that manages my life, my magic drawer, was here today. So my home's beautiful and clean and tidy. But I know she doesn't go home to the same situation. And as much as I do my best to give her stuff and to reward and remunerate at a fair and reasonable level, we're still blessed. We're very, very blessed with what we have right now. If you have food, clothing, shelter, electricity, internet, a car, bank account, lights, hot and cold running water, some drink, you're probably in the top 10% of quality of life on the planet. And I'll drink to that, to being blessed at the very highest level of quality of life on the planet. Let's see how we are doing with... Okay, we have about 16 minutes here. Probably, I don't know, do you know how to cook rice? I'm a student of possibility. I learn the whole time. And I think that's what's happening in the COVID times we have today. We're all learning. And we cannot use the old mindset to handle new situations. Well, you can, but then there's a consequence of behavior. And that's going to mean, I saw some research, close to 60% of people are amenable to looking for a new position or new job. Think about that. If you're the HR manager of an organization, consider that more than half of your people are unstably employed with you and are willing to look for somebody who provides better support, better context, better culture, better care. And it's not hard to care. Just think about when last did you give somebody a compliment in your home, in your team? People are stressed, they're duress. I saw some statistics. In America, 85% of the people are saying they're burnt out at some time or another in this remote working. Yeah, as a manager, you have to perform. You have to get work done. I've got a client, one of my mentors, my mentees, has got a client who wants to take their sales from 400 million to 800 million over 4 years. So we're presenting next Friday. And they think it's just about pushing more sales. There's a lot of work to be done in the mindset, attitude, resilience, psychological capital, psychological safety of the organizational culture and context. There's work to be done in teamwork, trust, communication, collaboration, cohesion, how the team shows up. There's work to be done in leadership effectiveness and impact and care. Do you really care as a leader? And we don't have many leaders. Google's research shows that 9 out of 10 leaders are not good leaders. Think about that. 9 out of 10 leaders are not great leaders. That's crazy. And it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Is you think you're doing great and amazing like our leaders that we have, but in fact you're doing a really cuck job. And normally I thought it's only animals that don't understand and have a good self-reference point to understand how badly they are doing. People, teams, leadership, culture are the 4 levels that you have to impact and address cohesively and concurrently if you're going to create a high-performance workplace. But it starts with humans, with the heart element. And we've shifted more and more. If you look at customer service, used to be about customer service, and then it was customer satisfaction, then it was customer excitement, and then customer loyalty. But the world has changed right now to a point where we need to become more caring and considerate about the people we're dealing with. Business isn't just about the money anymore. Well, it can be for some. But it's not just about the money, but when you're dealing with an organization, do they truly care about you? Are you their trusted advisor? Do you have that level of trust, knowledge, skill, ability that you can make a better decision for them? There's only going to be more competition in the world. There's only going to be more challenges in the world. We have to become more conscious. And that for me is the journey and the challenge and the process that I take people through when I'm doing my team building. And that's my frustration in this time, is we can't do it. There's no hug, feel, touch, kiss, smooch, team building. I just want to get some water from my rice, because I'm not too sure. I've burnt rice before in my life, and it's not very nice cleaning the pot later. So if we're going to create a better world and a better place, we have to change how we're showing up. We have to look at the circular economy and stop wasting to the level that we waste, in whether it's food or materials. We have to think about our kids' futures. We have to, long ago, probably 30 years ago, I was saying that the people mindset, the people asset would be on the balance sheet. Mindset, attitude, resilience, psychological capital, happiness at work. And now we're starting to come to those levels. When people are buying the organizations, they're looking and they're doing analysis and their research to discover what is the context and the culture and the climate of that organization like. And that has a financial impact on the buying power, because people are the place where you have the power to perform and create that competitive advantage. Yes, technology is coming along. And I'm a techie at heart. I'm a computer COBOL RPG programmer. But I love hacking human software, because the human element, that shift from here only, left brain, to here, is the challenge that most people, most men, are going to have to make. So we're accountants and lawyers, and there's some cultures that are very left brain. But if you're going to live like that, you're going to lose your people, and talent retention is going to be a huge challenge. Platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook and all of these new technologies, people are going to move and change and shift jobs a lot more quickly. And so if you're an organization, if you're the HR or leader or manager in a team, you have to change how you're showing up in the world. You have to change how you're interacting with each individual person. And especially if they're in a remote situation. I know one of my lady friends that I met, she's working from home. She's a receptionist. So they've got the switchboard at her home, which is great to a point, and she can answer the phone in her pajamas. But it's very lonely being out there. I work on my own. If I don't see my gardener, my lady on a Monday, my house cleaning lady on a Monday and a Thursday, and my gardener on a Thursday, I might not see anybody for a week. Working from home has some ups and some downsides. As a manager, you have to make sure you stay in contact, you understand each individual's specific, unique need that you can address and understand and get underneath their mask. We know from the research, suicides are up, alcohol is up, abuse in the family is up. You know, there's a thing that I talk about, contextual contamination. Yeah, there are toxic cultures in organizations where the culture is toxic, but people have to go because they get paid and they're slaves and they're prisoners of that culture. But what many people don't understand, and I think I'm blessed because I've been exposed to it as a lifeline and hospice counselor and the coaching that I do, is for many people, home isn't a safe place. Home's not an easy, kind, calm, comfortable, hello honey, I'm home. Home is stress, home is duress, home is pressure, home is perform, home is workload beyond your norm. And I think it behooves us as leaders and to become conscious managers and leaders of the people that we interact with and just become more considerate with people. And I think for some we've become more conscious as we've slowed down. You know, WhatsApp has exposed us and opened us to all of the things happening in the world, the American elections and all of the theft of the elections and the dishonesty there, and the dishonesty and the stress that we have in our countries and around the world. So there's an awakening of energy, of consciousness, of what we really would like to have for the world, for our future, for our kids' future. And maybe you don't want it for yourself, but I'm sure you do want it for your own children's future, a better, bolder, bigger, better, brighter future for them. I know many people in our cultures who grew up very poor have worked crazy hard to get their kids a decent education and then to be able to go forward and thrive in the world. I was talking to one of my other guys that I coach, and I was saying a long time ago, probably at least 40 years ago, I was playing hockey overseas and I met a couple, and their job, they both had degrees, university degrees. But their job, the only job they could get was to fix up the plants on the islands between the highways. And I was saying, I see the same thing happening here, because I see right now there are people that are qualified accountants that don't have a job. For months now they can't find a position. And that's one of and that's food, clothing, shelter, business are typically where there's a demand for jobs. But just because you have a degree doesn't mean you're going to get a job. Mindset matters hugely. Growth optimized mindsets are so vital, and that's why I believe AdaptAgility is the skill of the future. And through my coaching, ICMI, International Coaching and Mentoring Institute with Dr. Emmanuel, we're going to be sharing that knowledge, skill and ability right across the world and across Africa on growing people to be tough, to be robust, to be resilient, to have the mindset they can thrive in these new challenges, because I can promise you mega waves of change are still coming, especially in South Africa with our political situation and with the lack of accountability in those levels. You know, the outside field is politics, and what happens in politics impacts the next field in business, and what happens in business impacts the next field in communities and then homes. So you can't just ignore it. You have to become conscious of the bigger picture around you. And that's what I call WTFU. Yes, wake the frog up. So the boiled frog syndrome, if you know about it, is if you put a frog in cold water and you heat it slowly, it will be reasonable and it will accommodate like you do in a hot bath. You'll say, but you'll accommodate. You'll say, be reasonable. But eventually you can turn up the heat on that frog that it will boil and die. And I see us in that exact situation, is we have this hot context and it's not so nice. But where's the line of stop? Where's the line of this is no more? And who's going to do the no more? So if you're going to have the best chance of thriving and going beyond surviving in the world, I believe you have to have a new mindset. And the new mindset is founded upon that AdaptAgility, that ability to adapt swiftly, rapidly, to pivot, to use the context of the mega waves of change and use that to create and be creative enough and innovative enough to find ways to use that momentum and that energy. Many people won't, because leaders are very, very small in number in the world. As a percentage of the people, real leaders are maybe 1%, maybe. Most people are followers. And I need you to go home tonight and look in the mirror and go now down your passage and say, am I a leader or am I a follower? So many people. Well, let's use you as an example. We've got some people watching. Take your monthly insurance policy. So mine's probably, Discovery is $6,000, $7,000. I'm probably at $8,000 or $9,000 a month for my insurances. 10. Say 10 for a number. Take your monthly insurance premiums. Double that. So my 10 becomes 20,000. Add 2 noughts, it becomes 2 million. That is what I'm going to spend money out of my pocket for insurance over, I think it's 10 years. At the end of 10 years, what will I have in my hand? What will I have from my 2 million rand that I've spent with my Discovery and all my insurances? What will I have in my hand? Nothing. Think about that. So what are you doing about ensuring success? Are you investing a greater or equal amount in making sure that your knowledge, skill and ability, your AdaptAgility, your resilience, your skill set, your competencies, your connections, your networks around the world are the best? Because you insure your car, don't you? Why? For a maybe. You probably insure your house. You probably have a life insurance. Why? For a maybe. Your life isn't a maybe. Your life is an absolute definite certainty. You need to ensure success, what I call success insurance. You can go to my website, successactivators.com. I have materials there to help you guys. But I'm just here to wake you up and shake you up and say, listen, times are tough. I know. Times are tough. If you're not careful, you can burn. Times are getting tougher as we go. If you love somebody, connect with them, communicate, collaborate, show them, but start to build that AdaptAgility, the ability to adapt, to see bigger, to become aware, to become conscious. And then use what you have to pivot and create. Sorry, I see the messages keep coming through. Your WhatsApp messages actually stopped the presentation. So I'm going to start to cook my Dorado, my super fresh Dorado, and Billy unfortunately didn't make the time because he's too far away to get here in 4 ways. Wake up, shake up, wake the frog up. But there's a sentence that I love in my workshops, in my team building workshops. If it is to be, it is up to me. Don't wait for others. Don't expect the politicians, the other people. Step up, dress up, show up, and bring your best game or nothing. There's no second chances. This is the real deal. This is the time to show up with your best, most impressive game. And only with that will you ensure a bigger, better, brighter future for you and for your kids. If you want to see me more, my name is Tony Dovale. You can find me on Life Masters. Email me, send me a request, connect with me on LinkedIn. If I can change your life, your team, your business, if I can support you in any way to grow, thrive and flourish, let me know. I'm going to leave you now and have some lekker dinner. Thank you for your time.